Title: Anticipated Decline in Global Investment Flows, a comprehensive analysis of economic impact across key sectors. Date: January 30, 2025. Introduction. The global financial landscape is poised for a significant transformation as investment flows are projected to decline by 30% across four pivotal sectors: real estate, technology, manufacturing, and retail by Q1 2025. This anticipated downturn is expected to have profound implications for both emerging and developed economies, driven by a confluence of factors including elevated interest rates, geopolitical tensions, and persistent economic uncertainty. This report synthesizes various insights and projections to elucidate the expected impacts on investment, economic growth, and sectoral dynamics. 1. Economic outlook. According to Deloitte, the overarching theme for the global economy in 2025 is uncertainty. While the U.S. economy is expected to experience moderate growth, many advanced economies, particularly in Europe, are struggling with stagnation and inflationary pressures. For instance, Germany's GDP is projected to grow only by 0.7%, while Spain and Italy are expected to see growth rates of 2.5% and 1% respectively. This contrasting growth trajectory highlights the varied economic conditions facing different regions and sectors. 2. Sector-specific declines. 2.1 Real estate. The JLL Global Real Estate Outlook foresees a drastic reduction in new supply for commercial real estate, particularly in North America and Europe, where office space completions are expected to plummet by 73%. This decline is attributed to rising operational costs and a shift in demand dynamics as flexible work arrangements become more entrenched in corporate culture. 2.2 Technology. In the technology sector, investment is likely to be curtailed due to increasing operational expenses and market uncertainty, as noted by S&P Global. Companies are expected to prioritize cost efficiency over expansion, leading to a tightening of capital expenditures. 2.3 Manufacturing and retail. Manufacturing and retail sectors are also anticipated to face challenges. The ongoing geopolitical tensions, particularly in U.S. China trade relations, are likely to disrupt established supply chains and deter foreign investment. As a result, companies may delay or scale back their production plans, further impacting growth in these sectors. 3. Challenges facing emerging markets. Emerging markets, especially in Latin America and West Africa, are projected to encounter significant hurdles. For instance, Mexico's economy is expected to grow by only 1% in 2025, hampered by political uncertainties and reduced government spending. Similarly, Colombia is experiencing a decline in investment despite some signs of economic recovery. In West Africa, countries like Nigeria and Ghana are forecasted to see sluggish growth, with Nigeria's GDP expected to rise by 3.4% and Ghana's by 5.1%. 4. Geopolitical influences. The geopolitical landscape plays a crucial role in shaping investment flows. Tensions arising from the U.S. China trade relations and potential tariff increases could disrupt established supply chains. For instance, China's anticipated tariff adjustments may impact its economic growth, projected at 4% for 2025. Uncertainties related to foreign policy shifts following elections in various countries could further complicate the investment landscape. 5. Inflation and monetary policy. Inflation remains a central concern globally as central banks strive to balance fostering growth while controlling price increases. The Federal Reserve's recent interest rate cuts may support U.S. consumer spending but could lead to higher inflationary pressures in the medium term. Conversely, countries like Japan are expected to experience moderate growth driven by improved wage growth and consumer spending. 6. Timeline of events. 2024, major economies experience growth, however inflation remains persistent. Central banks signal possible rate cuts. Late 2024, geopolitical tensions escalate, leading to uncertainty in fiscal policies. Q1 2025, the anticipated 30% decline in investment flows is realized across major sectors, particularly affecting emerging markets. 7. Conclusion. The convergence of economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and inflationary pressures is expected to significantly reduce investment across key global sectors by early 2025. Developed economies may see modest growth, but emerging markets are likely to face increased challenges that could hinder recovery and investment opportunities. Stakeholders must navigate this complex environment, understanding the risks and opportunities that lie ahead. References: 1. Deloitte Global Economic Outlook 2025. 2. JLL Global Real Estate Outlook 2025. 3. S&P Global Economic Outlook 2025. 4. Economic forecasts and analyses from various financial institutions and research centers. This report synthesizes insights from multiple sources to provide a comprehensive overview of the anticipated decline in global investment flows and its implications for the economy. The anticipated 30% decline in investment flows across the real estate, technology, manufacturing, and retail sectors by Q1 2025 reveals several counterintuitive insights about the global economy, emerging markets, and developed economies. Here are the key points. 1. Growth amid decline. While a significant decline in investment flows is expected, many economies, particularly in the developed world, are projected to experience moderate growth. For instance, the U.S. economy is expected to grow by 2.4% in 2025 despite the investment downturn, suggesting that domestic consumption and other economic activities may counterbalance the reduced investment levels. This divergence highlights that growth can occur even when investment flows shrink significantly, challenging the notion that investment is the sole driver of economic growth. 2. Emerging markets resilience. Emerging markets are projected to face substantial challenges, yet some may still manage to show growth. For example, Nigeria and Ghana are expected to recover gradually from political and economic instability, with Nigeria's growth forecasted at 3.4% and Ghana at 5.1% in 2025. This resilience in the face of declining investment flows presents a counterintuitive scenario where local factors such as improved domestic consumption or government reforms might drive growth despite adverse global conditions. 3. Geopolitical tensions as a double-edged sword. Geopolitical tensions, particularly between the U.S. and China, are often assumed to negatively impact global trade and investment. However, these tensions could inadvertently encourage some countries to pursue new trade agreements and partnerships, potentially leading to unexpected investment opportunities in regions that are not directly involved in conflicts. For example, nations could capitalize on supply chain relocations, creating new avenues for investment and economic growth away from traditional power centers. 4. Inflation and interest rates. The narrative around inflation typically suggests that it leads to reduced consumer spending and investment. However, some economies like the U.S. are managing to maintain consumer spending levels through wage growth and government support even as inflation persists. This suggests that the relationship between inflation and economic activity is more complex than traditionally understood, with targeted fiscal policies and robust labor markets playing a crucial role in maintaining growth. 5. Sector-specific dynamics. The anticipated declines in investment flows are not uniform across all sectors. For instance, while the real estate sector is projected to see a drastic 73% decline in new office space completions, the technology sector may still attract investments, albeit at a reduced rate. This sector-specific variance indicates that some industries might remain resilient or even thrive despite broader declines, suggesting that stakeholders should focus on sector-specific trends rather than a blanket assumption of decline across the board. 6. Consumer sentiment and spending. The expected reduction in investment flows contrasts with the possibility of robust consumer spending, particularly in economies like Spain, where growth is projected at 2.5%. This underscores the idea that consumer behavior can be a significant driver of economic activity, potentially offsetting declines in investment. The relationship between consumer confidence and spending dynamics reveals that economies might thrive even when investment is contracting as long as consumer sentiment remains positive. 7. Policy responses. The interaction of fiscal and monetary policies can lead to counterintuitive outcomes. For instance, interest rate cuts by central banks are often expected to spur investment. However, in the current climate, such measures may lead to increased consumer spending without necessarily translating into immediate investment growth. This highlights the potential for central banks to create environments conducive to growth through consumer spending even if investment flows are diminishing. 8. Sectoral shifts. The decline in traditional sectors like manufacturing and retail may encourage a shift towards more sustainable and technology-driven industries. For example, as office spaces decline, companies may invest in remote work technologies and digital platforms. This shift suggests that while overall investment flows might decline, the transformation towards more innovative sectors could create new opportunities that were previously overlooked. In conclusion, while the anticipated decline in investment flows across key sectors paints a concerning picture, the interplay of various economic factors, consumer behavior, and policy responses reveals a more nuanced outlook. Growth can occur in unexpected places, and the resilience of certain economies and sectors coupled with shifting investment dynamics may challenge conventional economic wisdom. In the report discussing the anticipated 30% decline in investment flows across 4 key sectors: real estate, technology, manufacturing, and retail, by Q1 2025. Several crucial details and implications are likely to be overlooked by many readers. These overlooked elements carry significant weight in understanding the broader economic landscape and investment environment. Key overlooked insights and their significance. 1. Sector-specific vulnerabilities. Real estate. The 73% decline in office space completions projected for North America and Europe is alarming. This steep drop suggests a significant shift in demand patterns, potentially catalyzed by remote work trends. Investors might underestimate how this decline could lead to a surplus of underutilized office space, negatively impacting property values in urban economies. The implications extend beyond just real estate to affect local businesses reliant on foot traffic from office workers. Technology. The curtailed investments due to rising operational costs signify a broader trend of cautious spending in innovation sectors. This could stifle technological advancements and disrupt the global competitiveness of tech firms, particularly in emerging markets that depend on foreign direct investment for growth. The long-term effect could be a technological gap that would be hard to bridge in the subsequent years, especially if competitors in other regions continue to invest robustly. 2. Emerging market dynamics. The challenges facing emerging markets, particularly in Latin America and West Africa, are significant yet often overshadowed by the focus on larger economies. Countries like Mexico and Colombia are projected to see minimal growth, 1% and 2.5% respectively, largely due to political uncertainties and reduced investment levels. This stagnation can translate into social unrest, increased migration pressures, and a worsening of poverty levels, which could spill over into regional instability and impact global markets. Additionally, the report highlights the potential for Nigerian growth at 3.4% and Ghana at 5.1%. But these figures are contingent on a stable geopolitical climate and effective governance. The risks of civil unrest and ineffective policy responses to economic challenges are significant and could derail these projections rapidly. 3. Geopolitical risks and supply chain interruptions. The ongoing U.S. China trade tensions and their implications for global supply chains are critical yet frequently downplayed. The expectation of increased tariffs and disrupted trade routes can lead to inflationary pressures that ripple through global markets. This scenario can particularly harm industries reliant on imported goods, potentially leading to increased costs for consumers and decreased purchasing power. Furthermore, geopolitical uncertainties, as noted in contexts like the Middle East, can introduce volatility that discourages investment. The report implies that investors need to brace for such shocks. Yet many may overlook the potential for rapid fluctuations in market conditions driven by geopolitical events. 4. Inflationary pressures and monetary policy. The ongoing battle against inflation is highlighted, yet many readers might not grasp the full implications of central bank strategies. The Federal Reserve's interest rate cuts could lead to short-term consumer spending boosts but may also result in long-term inflationary pressures if not managed carefully. The delicate balance between fostering economic growth and controlling inflation is a high-stakes game that can lead to economic overheating or recession, and this duality is crucial for investors to consider. Additionally, the report hints at the potential for rising inflation in developed economies, notably due to increasing costs associated with energy and production, which may not be fully accounted for in growth forecasts. 5. Consumer behavior shifts. The shift in consumer confidence and spending patterns is notable, particularly in developed economies. The report suggests a recovery in private consumption in the Eurozone, but the underlying factors, such as high savings rates and consumer caution, could indicate a more prolonged recovery period than anticipated. Investors often underestimate the psychological and behavioral aspects of economics, which can significantly impact demand and consequently investment returns. 6. Long-term strategic planning. The report emphasizes the need for businesses to adopt long-term strategies in response to these shifting dynamics. However, many organizations may still be focused on immediate gains rather than how to pivot their business models to align with changing consumer preferences and regulatory environments. The importance of agility in strategy development cannot be overstated, as businesses that fail to adapt may find themselves at a competitive disadvantage. 7. Regional disparities in recovery. The anticipated recovery in regions like the Nordics and Spain contrasts sharply with the stagnation expected in Germany and Italy. Such disparities can create investment opportunities or risks that are not immediately apparent. Investors might overlook specific regional dynamics, leading to misallocation of resources based on generalized economic forecasts rather than nuanced local conditions. Conclusion. The anticipated decline in investment flows across key sectors is not just a number, it reflects deeper structural changes and challenges within the global economy. The overlooked insights regarding sector vulnerabilities, geopolitical risks, inflation dynamics, and shifting consumer behavior are critical for stakeholders aiming to navigate the complexities of the post-2025 economic landscape. Recognizing these nuances and their implications will be vital for making informed investment decisions and strategic planning in a time of uncertainty. 1. Economic outlook and sector-specific impacts. The anticipated 30% decline in investment flows across the real estate, technology, manufacturing, and retail sectors by Q1 2025 underscores the fragility of global economic conditions. Advanced economies, particularly in Europe, are struggling with stagnant growth and inflationary pressures, while emerging markets face significant headwinds, including political instability and reduced foreign investment. Understanding the nuances of how these sectors will be affected can inform strategic decision-making for investors and policymakers alike. 2. Emerging markets challenges. Emerging markets, particularly in Latin America and West Africa, are expected to bear the brunt of reduced investment flows, with countries like Mexico, Colombia, Nigeria, and Ghana facing sluggish growth rates and political uncertainties. These challenges highlight the need for targeted reforms and strategies to attract investment and stabilize economies. The interplay between domestic policies and global economic trends will be critical in shaping recovery trajectories for these nations. 3. Geopolitical influences on investment flows. Geopolitical tensions, particularly between the U.S. and China, are poised to disrupt established supply chains and investment patterns. The potential for increased tariffs and trade barriers may further exacerbate the decline in investment flows. Analyzing the geopolitical landscape and its implications for global trade and investment will be essential for stakeholders seeking to navigate the complexities of the evolving economic environment. For monetary policy and inflation dynamics, the role of inflation and monetary policy remains pivotal in shaping the economic landscape. While some central banks like the U.S. Federal Reserve are navigating interest rate cuts to support growth, others face the challenge of controlling inflation without stifling recovery. The balance between fostering economic growth and managing inflationary pressures will be a defining factor for economies in 2025, influencing investment decisions and overall economic stability. 1. The 2008 global financial crisis. This crisis was precipitated by a significant decline in investment flows across various sectors, particularly in real estate and finance, leading to a severe recession in many developed economies. The collapse of major financial institutions, coupled with a drastic downturn in housing markets, resulted in a widespread credit crunch that severely affected global economic stability. The repercussions were felt in emerging markets as well, leading to reduced trade and investment, high unemployment rates, and a slow recovery process that lasted for years. 2. The dot-com bubble burst 2000, following a period of excessive speculation in technology stocks. The dot-com bubble burst in 2000 led to a sharp decline in investment flows into the technology sector. This resulted in significant losses for investors and a recession in the early 2000s. The aftermath saw many technology companies fail, leading to job losses and a slowdown in economic growth, particularly in the United States. The impact was felt globally as investment in technology-driven startups waned, affecting emerging markets that had begun to grow their technology sectors. 3. The Eurozone debt crisis 2010 to 2012, triggered by excessive government debt in several European countries. This crisis led to a significant decline in investment flows across Europe. High levels of debt and austerity measures resulted in stagnant growth, particularly in countries like Greece, Spain, and Italy. The crisis highlighted vulnerabilities in the European banking system and led to a reassessment of fiscal and monetary policies across the region. Emerging markets also faced repercussions as investor confidence waned, resulting in reduced foreign direct investment and slower growth rates. The anticipated 30% decline in investment flows across the real estate, technology, manufacturing, and retail sectors by Q1 2025 is poised to reshape the global economic landscape, affecting both emerging markets and developed economies. Here's a prediction-based outlook for the future in light of these developments. 1. Economic growth dynamics. Developed economies. Moderate growth. Advanced economies, particularly the U.S. and parts of Europe, are expected to experience modest growth rates, with the U.S. projected at around 2.4% and Eurozone countries like Germany struggling at 0.7%. The shift away from aggressive monetary policies will yield some stability. Yet high inflation and interest rates will continue to plague growth prospects. Regional disparities. Countries like Spain and Italy may witness relatively better performance, with growth rates of 2.5% and 1% respectively, fueled by service sector resilience and government spending. Emerging markets. Struggles amidst recovery. Emerging markets, particularly in Latin America and West Africa, will face significant challenges. Mexico and Colombia are projected to grow only 1% and 3.4% respectively, mainly due to political uncertainties and reduced investment levels. The impact of geopolitical tensions and inflation will likely hinder recovery. Potential for growth. However, nations like Ghana are expected to see improved growth rates, 5.1% in 2025, as domestic demand picks up due to easing inflation and better government policies. 2. Sector-specific implications. Real estate. Supply shortages. The commercial real estate sector may experience a severe drop in new supply, particularly in North America and Europe, where a 73% decline in office space completions is anticipated. This scarcity will drive competition for prime locations and increase the focus on retrofitting existing properties to meet sustainability standards. Increased investment in resilient assets. As investors seek safer havens, sectors like logistics and data centers may attract more capital, driven by e-commerce growth and digital transformation demands. Technology. Investment pullback. companies are likely to curtail technology investments due to rising operational costs. However, sectors related to artificial intelligence and cybersecurity may still see growth as businesses prioritize digital transformation. Innovation as a competitive edge. Startups focusing on innovative solutions may attract venture capital as traditional firms cut back. Manufacturing. Geopolitical shifts. The sector will face disruptions from U.S. China trade tensions and potential tariffs, leading to a re-evaluation of supply chains. Investments may shift toward nearshoring to mitigate risks associated with geopolitical uncertainties. Sustainability focus. Manufacturers will increasingly adopt sustainable practices driven by consumer demand and regulatory pressures affecting operational costs and investment strategies. Retail. Evolving consumer behavior. Retail sectors will continue to adapt to changes in consumer behavior with a clear shift towards e-commerce. Retailers that can effectively blend online and offline shopping experiences may thrive. Investment in experience. Physical retail spaces will need to focus on enhancing customer experiences, possibly leading to investment in experiential retail concepts. 3. Geopolitical and monetary policy influences. Geopolitical risks. Increased uncertainty. The ongoing geopolitical tensions, particularly surrounding U.S. China relations and conflicts in the Middle East, will likely create economic volatility. Nations heavily reliant on trade with these regions may experience significant economic ramifications. Policy adjustments. Countries may need to adopt more flexible fiscal and monetary policies to navigate these uncertainties successfully. Monetary policy trends. Interest rate adjustments. While some central banks may ease interest rates to stimulate growth, others may remain cautious, balancing inflation control with growth objectives. This divergence will create varied economic environments across regions. Inflationary pressures. Persistent inflation, particularly in developed economies, will continue to influence consumer spending and business investment decisions. 4. Summary of future outlook. The convergence of economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and inflationary pressures is expected to significantly impact investment across key global sectors by early 2025. Developed economies may experience modest growth while emerging markets face greater challenges. The overall landscape will be shaped by how stakeholders navigate the complex interplay of risks and opportunities, particularly within real estate, technology, manufacturing, and retail sectors. Investment strategies will need to pivot towards resilience, sustainability, and adaptability, emphasizing the importance of understanding local market dynamics and global trends. As businesses and governments adapt to the changing economic landscape, proactive measures will be critical to ensuring recovery and growth in the years to come.